Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with my colleague at Premier Development Partners, Brian Lenahan, and today we are joined by Bridget Richards. They're both SIOR members, and they're here to talk about AI. So let them introduce themselves and also let them talk a little bit about why AI is a topic of interest to them. Go ahead and take away.
Okay, thank you, Kirsten. My name's Brian Lenahan. I'm a Senior Vice President here at Premier Development Partners and Premier Commercial Realty. We're a industrial developer primarily and broker. And I got to meet Bridget at a conference, and I was intrigued by what AI is. And so she's been kind enough to offer her time to evolve into a conversation to, highlight some of these issues and get us more interested and engaged in how we can be more up to date in the industry. So thank you, Bridget.
Great. Yeah. Hi. So thanks, Brian and Kirsten. My name is Bridget Richards, and I operate a independent brokerage and development firm here in Las Vegas. I'm a member of SIOR, specifically the independent broker group. So yeah, we did a roundtable in Florida there, and I thought, it'd be good just to introduce some of these tools that I'm currently using, and I've been using for just about a year and a half now. And these tools have specifically ChatGPT and Midjourney have really transformed the way that I run my business, the way that I do sort of my daily tasks, my best practices, all of those things. It's given me a lot of time back. Time savings is mainly what I use ChatGPT for. So I have several, case studies and applications that I use it for in my daily business, running a brokerage business, analyzing lease documents, purchase and sale documents, offers, architectural plans, marketing materials, you name it. This tool can do quite a number of things to increase productivity and let you leverage your time so you can get more deals done and more buildings built and sold.
Great.
And yep, I've been in the industry. This is my 19th year.
Wow.
So primarily specialize in office, but I do obviously some industrial deals too. And I've built both light industrial and I'm building medical office buildings right now in my market.
Wow. Well, that's quite a background. So, and then fabulous. So there's a couple questions I want to dive into and
Sure.
to kind of
Sure.
highlight what it is and what way we go. So
Okay.
artificial intelligence, AI, otherwise known as, has been a business buzzword for several years now. And with options like self-driving cars and chat GPT, conversations around AI have become more common. AI is a growing field with so many different applications for different industries. Can you touch on some big ways that AI has impacted the real estate industry?
Yeah. So I think just as a whole in commercial real estate, I think it's helped us sort of take reports and documents that are large. First of all, the main tool that I use is ChatGPT. I use the version 4. I have a workspace, so my workspace chats they're not used to train the model. So basically, all ChatGPT is a language model. It's studied, millions and millions of pages of the English language that were used to originally train it. So that's all it really is. It's called a large language model, and it's trained by everybody at OpenAI who's been inputting. And at this point, probably millions of queries to this thing every single day. It's growing in power. It's growing in its breadth of language, and it's a fantastic tool. I want to say a lot of people that are already in our industry in real estate brokerage and development, they happen to be pretty good writers. I've noticed we can write an email like nobody's business, very detailed. We have to be very thorough in our communication. So I think that ChatGPT certainly has helped. If you're already a pretty good writer and you write a prompt into ChatGPT, and your specificity is your friend. So if you're really specific in what you're asking and you write a good prompt, you're going to get a good output. So that's what I've noticed in working with it. If you're already a pretty decent writer, you're going to get some good results. So I think a few different things, just analyzing our these big bulky reports that we get, big documents, maybe, obviously big sets of data. It can process these things a lot quicker than we can. So as independent brokers, I think part of our selling feature for our services is that we deliver things quickly and we give a real hands-on personal approach. So for instance, if I get a counteroffer on a purchase and sale agreement, I can upload that into my workspace chat GPT version 4. And I can ask it certain questions about that document and it'll give me a response. I can also upload the last counteroffer and that we made, and then the new counteroffer, and have them compare those documents head to head. Now, I could take those results and I can email those to my client and say, hey, I haven't sat down to really read through this, comb through it line by line, but I can tell you right off the bat, first blush, this is what changed, right? The purchase price changed. They want a different title company. They want a higher deposit. So that way, those ideas have been translated to the client. They can start thinking about a response in advance of me providing a detailed summary of the changes. So it's moving more quickly. It's just moving things more quickly, I think, is certainly a benefit of this technology.
So timing to upload these documents sounds seamless and no time at all. Yep.
Seamless.
And then you obviously trust that. So let's talk about the trust factor, because you're assuming they got it, right? They're looking at your terms, appreciate the differences and can highlight and aren't missing anything. So, how does that trust factor happen? I guess it just evolves as you get more familiar with this, but tell us about that.
Yeah. So at first, it's kind of like when you first start using this tool, you think, ooh, are other people seeing this that are on Chat GPT? Is this a public forum? And at first it was when the technology first came out, it was everybody's inputs were being used to train the model and make the model smarter. Now I have a separate paid workspace that's not a part of that. So there's trust with that when I share something, it's not being used, they're not saving it and keeping it and doing things with it. It's my own data. So I feel more comfortable with that part. I also feel more comfortable as time has gone by. This tool has gotten better at math. I don't all the way trust it. I have a situation where I have this big multi-tenant office building that we're carving out condo style units that we're selling to owner users because that market is very tight. There's not a lot for sale in our market for the small user. So we took this big building. It has a load factor, so common areas. And I asked ChatGPT, hey, here's all the measurements. Can you help me calculate a load factor? And this was probably a year ago. And I was getting the most bizarre responses. I'd ask it, show your math, show me your steps, and I just couldn't get it. Today, I could put that same query into ChatGPT and I'll get something very accurate. So it has evolved. Nowadays, I trust it a lot more, but it's always the same with any technology. It's a trust and verify. If I can quickly review those lease terms or the terms in the purchase and sale agreement, and check it against the original later on, that's kind of what I do. I use it as kind of a speed to the communication flow, but I do with a serious legal document, I'm going to read that sucker as soon as I get to my desk and I can sit there and read it, but I'd say the trust factor is in the 90%.
Okay. All right. It feels like a little bit of self-driving car, let them go when I'm driving, like, you're going to crash or not, right? A little bit. But I guess over time, you're comfortable with, they know the streets, they know the roads, they stop at the stop signs. Yeah.
Right. I'm comfortable with the margin of error because that trade-off is how quickly that I can get something done. And sometimes, and I'm talking about legal documents here, but with marketing things and some of the other activities I use this for, it doesn't need to be that accurate. It doesn't need to be 100%. Okay. Sometimes on marketing tasks, done is better than perfect. right? So long as
Yeah,
there's nothing material, maybe it used a word that I don't like. Sometimes ChatGPT spits out its favorite words, like nestled and unparalleled and it repeats these words. And I, as much as I try to get those out of my marketing because they sound like a robot,
yeah.
it still puts them into it. So with that, where it's not a technical document, where it's something that's a little more artistic, it's okay, to have some errors.
What about any disclaimers on the bottom of the documents that kind of manage that 10% risk?
Yeah, I mean, sure, I have disclaimers on all my offering memorandums and marketing packages, but I guess I'm not really talking about a mistake. I'm just talking about maybe it does something I don't like. It
Yeah.
describes something in a way that I wouldn't describe it like that. Maybe it doesn't sound like my voice 100%. Okay, that's really the
Yeah,
margin of error that I'm talking about on marketing for sure.
got it. So we talked about efficiency. It's pretty clear that it makes a lot of sense. I see that.
Mhm.
It's almost like a partner to you in a way that kind of
It
keeps the
is.
deals flowing.
It's truly like an assistant. I made some notes here that I'm going to send you guys if I hadn't already, but that's one of the points that I make is you got to talk to this thing like it is your trusted assistant, like it is somebody you're bouncing ideas off of. And that's really how it works the best is when you talk to it like you would a human being.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
personal in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
This isn't a shared thing where if there was someone else in your office, they in a way would have to have their own relationship independent of you and your relationship with it. Is that fair to say? Or
Yes, it's
yes.
fair to say. So on my workspace, I can add as many people as I want to that. It's $50 per person per month. Well worth it. I think the cheaper one, the regular one is like $20 a month. But on the workspace one, it's $50, I think, per user, and their account is their account. So if I have one of my people is on there, I can't see their chat history. I don't know. It doesn't share things like that. So if you have the account, regardless if I, assign you one of my seats on my workspace or you have it independently, nobody is seeing what you're doing on your own chat GPT account.
And so let's say a broker were to leave you, where does
Yeah.
that history, that relationship, that contact, what happens with that? That just die in the vine, or does it go with the person?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't honestly, I don't know. I
Yeah.
haven't crossed that bridge yet. So I haven't even thought about it because it's almost like uh if I had a bunch of agents and every agent had their office and they had a library inside of their office, right? That's their books and whatever. That's really all the chat GPT is. You're querying a library, basically. So if I'm sitting there asking, looking things up in my books, or my agent is looking things up in their books, all those times they looked up something in the book, who owns that? Nobody.
Yeah.
They can look as much as they want in the library, right? I don't
Wow.
think there's really too much intellectual property there, but I'd have to consider that. I'd have to think on that a little bit.
Okay, great. So I wanted to dive into some demos. You were talking about
Okay.
real life demonstrations as to, we can eyeball how it's
Yeah.
really used as, in your everyday practice, which would make a lot of sense for
Sure.
our team
Sure.
to see.
Okay, cool. So let me just go over here. I was
Sure.
actually, it's so funny. I was just using this. I had a question. Somebody's buying a building from us, and I kind of, helped put some of the things in place to be able to sell these units in this property. And they're asking me a lot of questions about the CCNRs, and our attorney responded, and it was kind of a pointed response, right, to the buyer. And I thought, ooh, I don't know if I want to send them something. Let's make this a little more considerate. So what I did is I copied the attorney's response and I asked ChatGPT to just make it a little more polite and considerate. And it did. And it copied the meat of what he was saying, but it just kind of like cushioned it at the top and the bottom with a little more politeness. And it was like exactly what the guy said, but it just sounded a little bit better, something that a buyer and the buyer's attorney would want to read more
Yeah.
than why do they want to know this? You know,
Mm.
can't they read the CCNRs, right? We don't want to say
Mhm.
that. We want to
Mhm.
say,
Mhm.
hey, eh, whatever, like
Yeah,
something just a little nicer, right?
sure.
So anyway, that was just what I was doing before I got on this call, as a matter of
Wow.
fact. So, okay, I'm going to try to share my
Sure.
screen and um, let's see. I have ChatGPT open, so we're just gonna kind of cut straight to it. I'm gonna open up a new window and here we go.
And you mentioned ChatGPT 4, the 4 version as the version that you use?
Yeah, yep. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the version I use. See, 4.0 for complex tasks. I like this just regular 4 is the one I use. So, but I can use any of those. It's fine. But yeah, see over here, I was doing CCNR's responsibilities. So right off the bat, I'm going to show you, I'm building a project here. It's 3 medical office buildings, ground up construction. And I wanted to I'm creating a marketing piece for this, a beautiful marketing piece. So what I wanted to do was take my civil plans and my architectural drawings and upload to ChatGPT and see what it will do with these when I ask it to pull some things to make some marketing materials. So we're going to go ahead and my desktop. Okay, so Jones office building, I believe this is it. And then I'm going to go back to, I have some notes I'm going to send you
Sure.
guys. New development main prompt. Okay, so this is the prompt that I used that I had in my notes to get ChatGPT to extract some things out of here. All right, so please review the attached architectural and civil plan for a medical and professional office project I'm developing and extract details about the project I can use in my marketing materials.
So
Okay,
that's your
so
request. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so I've uploaded, if you notice, I went to this paperclip
Yeah.
and then I can look and pull any file I want from my computer and upload it here. This is a PDF because it's the architectural plans and civil. So big, giant document. This is probably maybe a 30 megabyte document, maybe 20. So this is a big file that I'm asking. This is a big ask for ChatGPT. A year ago, it would never be able to do this. But nowadays, all right, so we're just going to hit the button and see what it does with this. I may have to prompt this a little bit further, but
Sure. Yeah.
we'll see what it says. Okay, so this is enough to give me a pretty good start. You know, if I have a graphics team and I want to turn some things over that they can put in property highlights, whatever,
Mhm. Mhm.
especially on new construction. How do you
Yeah, right.
describe new construction, right? It's hard. You got to
Yeah.
have visual aids. So if I'm making a brochure, look, here we go. Use of exterior stone cladding, classic limestone from Arizona tile. What? That's
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
So then I might say, your marketing materials need to get the imagination of the prospect going, right? So I
Yep.
might say, can you review the can you review specific about the architectural design and provide detailed description? Okay. So now I have it going back to the document
Yeah.
and coming up with more. See, now this is something that I can really 24 and 22 gauge steel, aluminum. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm. Mhm.
now we're cooking with gas, right? Look at it
Yeah.
go. Landscaping design. Hello, 10-foot wide landscape buffer, meticulously planned with a variety of plant species. Like, I may not like how this is all written. It's not perfect,
Yeah,
But my gosh, could I turn this over to my marketing team and say, hey guys, here you go. Like
right.
start putting some of this stuff in the brochure, right?
Sure. Yeah,
So I think it's brilliant in the mix between civil and architectural and those disciplines and how that can be, blended towards marketing. I think that's such a
absolutely.
cool concept that this thing will help you bridge that gap. It's really
I
hard to
see that.
communicate, those topics from your civil, your architect to the marketing team.
Right.
So this does it brilliantly.
No, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I also, when I'm looking at this document, I think about, sometimes we come across large, I mean, for buildings we're looking to acquire, large environmental reports, right?
Right.
And so the question, I mean, if I did the query in here, hey, can you get me the phase one report on such and such a date, and just it dives in, grabs it and shoots it back, as opposed to milling through it
Gosh, yeah.
forever. That could be very
Gosh,
helpful.
yeah. I mean, you could put in the environmental report. I mean, this tool can definitely help with any due diligence materials, right? You could upload it and say, hey, can you review this environmental report and list out the risks in escalated from highest to lowest found in that report
Mm-hmm.
in a bulleted list, right? And then
Yeah,
have it tell you which one it thinks is the worst possible thing in the report and give you that. So it's just a helpful little assistant. Even though you could read the report, find out
yeah.
all those things, at least this tool could point you to the most the items that carry the most risk as part of your due diligence.
Yeah, then I'm further thinking about purchase agreements we have in the queue. And
Yeah.
this could almost highlight the key diligence items, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Dates and deposits and whatnot. That could be very, very helpful to keep us on
Gosh,
task.
yeah. That's my first step. Usually when I get an offer on a property, I'll upload it straight to ChatGPT and tell it, analyze this document and give me a bulleted list of all these deal points. So that way I can just, instead of sending that to my client, which is sometimes medical people, sometimes, very busy people that don't want to read through a 6-page LOI
Sure.
necessarily, I can just bust over the bullet points in that list. And like I said, that just gets them thinking about a response.
Wow.
That's all I want. I want
Yeah,
them to
right.
start thinking about, okay, this is what they offered. Now what? Without them having to read a 6-page document. Right.
Mhm. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, but yeah, lots of different uses for this thing for real estate and development for sure.
Any pitfalls in your experience?
Just with the math, if I have like that load factor, like I was talking about earlier, with the load factor, I think you got to really double check the math. To me, some of the main pitfalls are like, don't ever send out something like you always personalize, right? So when you're generating original content, you got to make sure that the writing is in your style before you make it public, because you don't want your public image to be, oh, Brian speaks like a robot on LinkedIn. You don't, somebody's not going to want to read that. So you have to go in, and even if the bulk of the text is readable, it sounds great, maybe a little bit boring, you go right into the middle and put some comment that someone knows ChatGPT could not mimic. Like for instance, I did a just closed sales announcement and I say, all about the property details. And then I congratulate the other agent that co-brokered the deal with me. And right in the middle of that text, I say, and by the way, Dave could have worked at the FBI as a terrorist negotiator because he was so, that. So I put a random statement in there right smack in the middle of that text so that people reading it aren't thinking, oh, she used ChatGPT to write that. Because ChatGPT would never say something like that.
So that would suggest that the pitfall would be if you sound like a robot,
Yes.
people will not pay attention or not be interested, or I guess,
Yeah,
right?
you'll look
The net
stupid
effect is, yeah.
Yeah, for just simply, you'll look lazy. for just simply cutting and pasting it from ChatGPT to LinkedIn or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's that people want to see you having an attention to detail.
Mm.
So, especially with the things that we do. So you can upload samples of your writing, of your original, like articles you've written, things that you've written, long emails that you've written, whatever. And you can ask it to analyze the document for your style, overall, voice, tone, vocabulary, and have it, you can train the model on your own writing and ask it to vary the sentence structure, a lot of different things you can do.
So anything I've written, that's a very good point. It kind of personalizes it in a way that becomes less robotic, more
Yes.
I don't know, consistent with who the personality style is, and that's interesting.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to say, that there's no rules. This tool is just simply an extension of your own sort of moral compass. So if it's your spirit is driving this, right? There's no rules for it. I always tell people, even if you have something really complicated, a complicated negotiation or something that happened that is just, you're completely confused about it, I take my problem straight to ChatGPT. I don't care. I don't want to make any assumptions about what it can and cannot do. I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to dump it in there and see what happens. Right. So I think that fearlessness, that's what everybody needs to get a hold of, because you can't psych yourself out and say, before you even tried, oh, this is too big of a task for ChatGPT, or it won't be able to handle this, or it's not that kind of a tool. It's a everything tool. It's a universal tool. So
let me ask you, what question did you pose it that you're completely shocked it got there, and it kind of opened your eyes, go, wow, this is incredible. It kind of broke it open for you.
Yeah, I definitely think, I'm going to answer that, but I'm going to think about maybe, I'm sitting here writing an email to somebody, and I just can't seem to strike the right balance with it. It's a real difficult client that I have, and I got to be so careful not to upset him, but at the same time, be truthful. And I'm sitting there thinking these things, trying to hammer out this email. And then I said, you know what? Let me just tell ChatGPT, hey, this is what I've written so far. I'm trying to handle a difficult personality. Can you make this sound professional yet grateful at the same time? I take whatever I'm struggling with, and I just write it in there. Hey, and it was able to take something that I was really struggling with, how to say something, and make it what I was looking for. Give me some idea, especially when you get that writer's block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, I just don't know what to say about this. You can give it a couple of bullet points, and it'll respond to how you describe to. I think one of the funny things that I did, I have it on my phone. Okay. It looks like, let me show you what it looks like. Hold on. New chat. So it looks like this. I don't know if you can see. This is just it. It's basic and boring, just like the one on the laptop or the computer. I highly recommend downloading it to the phone.
That being the ChatGPT app? What is it? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's a ChatGPT app. It looks exactly like this little, let's go back up here. This symbol right here. Okay.
What?
That's the one that you want to look for when you download it from the App Store.
Okay.
It's critical. I'll tell you why. You could be at a restaurant, and you want to, analyze the menu for somebody has a shellfish allergy or whatever. You can take a picture of that menu, tell ChatGPT on your phone, talk it in there. You don't even have to type on your phone. You can tell it, hey, my friend Linda has a shellfish allergy. Can you make some recommendations on this menu that don't have shellfish? And it'll pop up. So you could tell it a first course, a dessert, and an appetizer, or whatever. For Christmas, last year we had a Christmas party, and I had credit at my country club of about $700. And it just disappears. If you don't spend the 700, if you don't spend that food and beverage minimum at the end of the year, they just bill you for it. So I call them up. I'm like, hey, send me the wine list. I'm going to come pick up some wine to account for the $700. So they send me the wine list in a PDF. I upload it to ChatGPT and I tell it, hey, I'm really a fan of big French reds, and I like a French sparkling, and I like an Oregon Cabernet. And I said, what bottles can I get to stay under my $700 budget based on my preferences? And it shot me out a list of, 8 bottles of wine that fit my criteria. So I told the guy at the clubhouse, hey, package it up. I'm coming to get it. And they were all great. They were all top-notch selections.
Well, that sounds like it saved you a hell of a lot of time combing through that. Oh my God.
It was like a 10-page wine list that they had.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe this thing. There's no way I would have sat there and tried to figure that out.
Mhm.
ChatGPT figured it out just like that.
Well, let's then talk about the cost. What's the cost of this device? Free ChatGPT or?
Yeah, ChatGPT is $50 a month for the workspace, the fully professional version.
Okay, and that's what you would recommend.
I would recommend it because it will search the web for you. In another exercise I do, it analyzes market reports. I can tell it to find the market reports for Las Vegas, find the market reports for, industrial in Las Vegas. It'll pull Collier, CB, Cushman. I can then ask it to analyze those documents, give me a market report update that I can post to LinkedIn with the sources cited, and it'll do it.
Will it go out and grab them, or do you have to have them? And it'll go grab
it will go out and grab them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be useful in terms of also lease comps too. Very, very helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been great. I mean, again, this is all new. And we appreciate your time. You're kind of the pioneer for at least the SIOR.
I'm trying.
Now you're doing great,
Brian.
Absolutely,
I want to take everybody with me.
Yeah, well, you are. You're leading. You're a great leader. So let me hold your hand and not fall behind too bad. But I have a feeling that's too late. But we're trying. No. We're trying too. So
it's easy to catch up. You just have to tinker with it. If you have an inquisitive mind and a curious spirit, that's all you need. And you can tinker with this thing. You'll figure out things that I would have never thought of just based on your life experience. That's why it's so cool.
Yeah, great. Well, we are so grateful for your time, Bridget. And
you're so welcome.
Very, very helpful. And I'm sure we'll be back in touch, but thank you for the time though.
You got it. I'm going to send you my notes so you have all the notes and you can use those however you please.
Perfect. Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. This was fascinating. It's really interesting for me to learn more about it, specifically within real estate. So thank you again.
Yeah. You got it.